This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Jim Schaller.
Welcome, good neighbors, to episode number 33 of the Good Neighbor Podcast, Estero. Today we have good neighbor Deb Orton from the Friends of Benita, Estero Rail Trail, BERT for short.
That's
Deb,
right.
How are you doing today? Yes?
I'm doing great. In fact, I got a great bike ride in today. I went to Naples and got a great bike ride in, so I'm feeling great.
See, weather is great. That's why we live down here.
I know it. Isn't that the truth?
It's perfect. So why don't we start out? Why don't you share a little bit about BERT and what you guys are looking to do?
Yeah, so thank you for the way that you said that, the Benita Estero Rail Trail, Friends of BERT. We are a 501c3. We have about 3,000. Gosh, we went over 3,000 this week, 3,100 Friends of BERT. So in a year, we've grown the organization like that. We have about 60 volunteers. We have a board. And like I said, we're a nonprofit. Our goal and the reason that we exist is really because bicycling and pedestrian safety is so poor in Southwest Florida, Lee County in particular. There really aren't safe places to bike and walk that are away from the traffic. And so our group was formed to advocate to the county and to the municipalities to bring in, and right now we're focused on a particular rail corridor that is south of Alico Road that's owned by Seminole Gulf Railway, and they are very willing to sell that to the county and then we could create a greenway and trail. So that's kind of a long way of saying it's all about safety, moving here, understanding that I left North Carolina where we had great rail trails, came down here as a cyclist. It's unsafe to ride in Lee County. So building out greenways and trails that are away from the traffic is the goal.
It is, and it's tough because I ride a bike myself around, and it's scary sometimes when you're on the road. It's bad enough when you're in a car, but imagine being on a bike and being in some of this traffic. So what you're doing is great. How did you get involved with this?
Well, 4 years ago, my husband and I moved down from the Raleigh, North Carolina area, and prior to that, we were on the West Coast. So we've always been around places where we had these types of trails. And so brought our bikes, did all that, came down into this beautiful paradise, and always felt like, gosh, I'll get more riding in, and it's actually less. There is a rail corridor that's right almost out our back door that is unused, and it hasn't been used for about 14 years. So as we looked at that, I started looking into, gosh, could this ever be a trail? As it turns out, there's been groups that have been working on it prior to the 4 years ago that we moved here. So I started looking into how could we move it along. So a friend and myself co-founded Friends of BERT, and about a year ago, right after the hurricane, and got it going. And it's been what our job is to advocate to municipal and county and state and federal politicians to help us get this done.
Very good. And it's been a chore. It's not easy, right?
It's not. Oh boy, have I learned a lot. One thing I've learned, and I always think this is funny, when you stand up in front of the county commissioners or the city council or anything, you have either 3 or 4 minutes to get your point across. And so I've become so good at being concise and getting that point across that we want, that we hope will make a difference with them. So that's a big learning. I've learned so much about how I've really never been political at all in terms of getting into city councils and county commissioners and that type of thing, but learning how to get into their office and really make our case.
Nice. And making a
Mhm.
difference here in the community, which is great.
Yeah,
So
I think so. I think so.
are there any myths or maybe misconceptions about what you guys are trying to accomplish?
Yeah. I think, and you mentioned it yourself, what I realize is because every time in 3,000 new members, they all write something about why they've become a member and why they think this is important. So I realized from those 3,000 people that if you've lived up north, you are accustomed to having these trails and you know how much of how how it's not just a trail. It becomes central to our not only our transportation, but our community and how businesses grow and how our home values improve and how safety is improved. So those are the misconceptions. I think if you haven't lived near a trail, you might think, oh gosh, my safety and security might be um, hampered. Well, what I know is we live next to an abandoned rail line, and there are vagrants, there are ATV drivers, and everything up and down that. And when it's patrolled after it becomes a county park, it'll be patrolled, and it'll be really again kind of a crown jewel for Lee County.
And you had mentioned too, it's more about involving the community. It's not just about bike riding, it's about walking, it's about
Oh
jogging,
gosh.
it's about there's a
Hmm.
lot of different things that involve the community and it brings people together and gets people out, you know.
It does. Yeah, what we can imagine is, for example, if I may, I spent a lot of time up in Sarasota County riding and walking, et cetera, on the Legacy Trail. And one day, my husband and I went up there and we were interviewing somebody up there, one of the county commissioners, and we were on the trail. And here comes a woman who's severely disabled and she's got an electric wheelchair. And she's just tiny, right? And she's got this electric wheelchair. And so we stopped to talk with her, and she was very much willing to talk with us about what this trail has meant to her. And she said, I never used to be able to get out of my house. I was housebound. Now I can get into my electric wheelchair and I can go on the trail. I can go to the grocery store, etc. And so it really gave me chills because I thought, just think what we're doing for those people who really can't get around unless they could get onto a trail like this that's separated from the traffic.
Now you had mentioned that it goes from Alico Road. What's the exact path? It's the old rail, but obviously a lot of people might not be
Yeah,
familiar with
yeah,
where
that's
it
right.
exactly is.
I like to say the starting point for Lee County is going to be Bonita Beach Road. So right downtown Bonita Springs, right downtown Bonita Springs. And right there by Riverside Park. Um, if you've been to Bonita Springs and you see what's going on in downtown Bonita Springs, and then you consider the fact that this rail line will be a trail and a park, the people of Bonita Springs are really excited about that. It heads north to Estero and goes right through the middle of right by some recreational areas that are being developed in Estero over the Imperial River in Bonita Springs, over the Estero River, and then it'll go all the way up to Alico Road. A nice thing there is that there'll be a connection from there up into Fort Myers on the John Yarborough Trail, and then another connection over the river all the way up to Charlotte County. So once we can get this gap filled, we have the ability to have 42 miles of contiguous greenways and trails all the way from Collier County up to Charlotte County. I mean, it really will be fantastic.
And that's yeah, and that's great. Like I was going to ask that is because I'm familiar with a lot of other bike paths throughout the state of Florida, and they do all end up, connecting. But it's nice because it's connecting communities, it's connecting parks, it's
Right,
promoting people like you mentioned, just getting outside and enjoying why we live in Southwest Florida.
right, exactly.
So, is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners pertaining how they can get involved, possibly?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It would be fantastic if people went to our website to Benita Estero railtrail.com, become a member. It's free, there's no cost. And then think about what else you'd like to do. At that website, you can volunteer, you can donate. As you're donating, you're helping us have an operational budget to be able to extend our reach. So those are the things that we're doing right now. Last week, we had a gathering of our volunteers. We have about 60 volunteers, and we got everybody together for some training, and we're doing events. We're doing grant writing and a lot of different things that I think people have an expertise in that I don't have an expertise in. And those volunteers are really enjoying themselves.
That's good. It's about bringing the people together that can help each other in ways that not
Exactly.
not everybody can. So where are we along, I'm going to say, the timeline as far as making
Uh-huh.
this a reality?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are still in, well, I'll get I'll get into a few more organizations that are advocating for this. Trust for Public Lands, which is a national organization that their vision, their mission nationally is to bring people closer to nature. That's, so they've gotten involved and they are doing the negotiations with Seminole Gulf Rail Line um, to sell this 15-mile stretch of their rail corridor. The rail corridor itself, interestingly enough, is very wide. It's 130 feet wide on average. Some
Wow.
places are 160 feet wide. So they're working on, and they've told us that they feel like they're close. We hope so, to negotiating this deal. As soon as that happens, then we can get engineers on the rail line to 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 design, if you will, plan and design what the rail line would look like or what the trails would look like. A great thing about this, because Florida is trying to put in a lot of these types of trails, the Sun Trails Network is run by our Florida DOT. They actually pay for all the studies that go on, a feasibility study that's already completed. The planning and design phase will be next, probably happening January, February of next year. And then from there, they will pay to construct the trail. So it's really the county and the municipalities making the purchase of this really lovely piece of land and owning that asset, and then the state will study it and construct it.
Great. That I can't wait. I'm excited. It's
I
it's gonna be
know,
it's gonna
I
be
know.
great, right? Can we get it done tomorrow? So
Boy, I wish.
yes, I
I'm learning.
know.
I'm learning patience. That's what I'm learning.
There you go. See, it's in all aspects of life. It's helping you out.
That's right. That's right.
Any last words for our listeners?
No, I just hope that you'll go to the website. You'll send us messages, send us why you would like to see a trail, and then get involved. The more people we can get involved, we ask people to get in touch with their city council members, get in touch with, I spoke to the Fort Myers City Council, as a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, and they agreed to formally, unanimously endorse BERT. So we really do have a lot of organizations behind us.
That's great. And though it may seem like it's a done deal, there's still a lot of work to be done, and people need to be
Oh
involved
yeah.
to help with that. Yep.
I don't see it as a done deal. I see it as a whole lot of work and a whole lot of just a whole lot of work, a whole lot of it will be expensive to purchase that land. But we also know that from Florida DOT that a 15-mile trail can generate about $20 million per year in benefit to the county. So it's really while we will have to pay a lot for it, and I don't know what that number is, but I know it'll seem like to we mere citizens a lot of money. It will return at least $20 million a year. So we'll pay back. The payback will be fast.
There we go. And it's all about bringing the community together, which is great.
Yeah.
Well, Deb, it's been a pleasure getting to know you and getting a better understanding of BERT, and I am looking forward to getting on my bike and riding out there very soon.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, you take
Thanks,
care
Jim.
and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Jim.
All right. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Estero. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpestero.com. That's gnpestero.com or call 239-296-2621.